Hi, I'm Dan Connor, and I'm going to show you a little bit about my application that I created for my capstone project for the University of Pittsburgh at Bradford. What I did for my capstone project was make an Android application. It's called StrumIt, and StrumIt's basically just a beginner's guitarist application. It'll teach you how to play chords, your basic chords. It'll show you your finger placement, where to place your fingers, and you can actually it'll show the fretboard and you can strum it yourself to hear the actual chord being played so you know that you're playing it correctly, or you can push the individual strings and hear the notes themselves. And I also included an acoustic guitar tuner. Now I'll show you the demo later, but I'm going to go a little bit into the code to show you how this was accomplished. Here I've got running Eclipse with the ADT plugin for Android. And this is your application names. Click on that, go to StrumIt. On a source folder, here's my unique package. Click on that. And here we have all of my Java classes. As you can see, I have many Java classes for all my different chords. And I'll show you main activity. This is the main screen. We have our key activity for the key, tuner activity for the guitar tuner, detail activity, which is the page with all the chords, and then the audio player activity, which is just the class for the audio player. Now I'm going to go into the main activity and show you what this is made of. Here we have our imports, our package name, on create, and what this does is you can click which XML file you want it to use, which is my activity main XML file, which I'll go into that a little bit later. On create options menu, this just inflates the options menu, and this is on options item selected, which is just actually supplying the options menu, and you're supplying it with these different cases. So for my options menu, I have action tuner, which creates an intent. An intent is just basically an activity, and main activity, which is just this activity. And when you click on it, it starts tuner activity, and it goes to the action tuner, which you can hit control click, and it'll show you what that is in the actual our class. Go back, keep going down, and then options item selected is just, it'll return whatever you choose. And then this is the go activity for the button, the main button to go to the chords, and the chords will go to the detail activity. So I'll go in there. Here I have my detail activity. Again, same thing. My imports, activity, my layout is activity detail. And this little bit of code is for the action bar to go backwards. You can actually, instead of pressing your physical home button, you can just press the top of the menu. Google wanted, a lot of phones don't have, Google wanted an actual back button in the action bar, just in case your phone doesn't have a back button, so you won't actually have to use those anymore. And these are each individual buttons for all of my chords. As you can see, I should have 21 buttons. And these buttons, like let's say this one, button B, which is just the B chord, and it starts that activity, which you see here, B activity, and on click. So when you click on it, it'll open an intent, and the intent will send you to B activity. And again, this activity is detail activity. It has that for every button. So we'll go into that. I'm going to run one of my chords, and this is the class for my actual chord. But before I show you this, I'll show you a little bit about my audio player activity. Okay, what this is it's a Google API for uh, recorded sounds, basically. So this is already code that you can get off the internet for the audio player Java class. All you have to do is copy paste the code in, make a Java class for it. You don't need an XML file, again, because it's just a class. That's it. It's not an actual page. And it's very confusing, but really all you need to know is the basics to get it working. Like here, the play note, it sees if the note's playing. And again, for the stop note, it'll request to stop the note, which I'll show you again in my chord activities. What I wanted to show you is down here. This is what messed me up, the buffer size. Now, the buffer size is very important for your recorded sounds, because if the buffer size is set too high, then the notes will ring out longer, and if you strum on the actual chords, the app will crash. And if the buffer size is too low, then it'll play only part of the recorded sound. So the idea really is to get the sweet spot where you can have the sound ring out and it won't crash. And over here is the audio track manager. Stream the music. It's 16-bit, channel out mile, and the audio format PCM 16-bit, which actually messed me up for a while when I first started recording my sounds. Oops. I can't remember what size it was, but it wasn't 16-bit. And when I put them into the application, they sounded funny. They were a pitch high, and I couldn't figure out why that was. And I did a little research, and I found out that whatever the audio format is, that's what you have to record it into, or else it won't sound right. Okay, I'm gonna show you back into chord activity. Again, I'm trying to go quick, because there's so much to this application. Now, let's see. This is to get the sound player in the activity for the chord, the array list, which is for my buttons. I create an array list. I found out this is the easy way to do it. You just find view by ID. Each button has its own ID. Again, the action bar again to go back. We'll go down here. The sound player is the new the audio player activity. So it ties the two together. And this is what actually made the strumming effect. Again, it's very confusing code that all you do is basically plug it into your application and you'll be able to use it. What it basically does is when you press your finger down, it'll find the location for your finger on the screen, as you see here. And then if it's a button or a text view or something, it will know when your finger's over top of it. Instead of physically pressing a button, you can just glide your finger over it and it'll know. Let's see, go over here. It's just finding the states of the button, if it's pressed, if it's not pressed. And down here is the toggle button sound. Here's the button. You see button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4, and then it'll have note equals, and then the name of the note. Again, E is the E string. B2, what this means is it's the B string, 2nd fret. And the reason why it says note equals is I'll show you in the audio player activity. Go back at the top. Right here. You'll see string path equals note plus dot wave. Audio player will only recognize wave files, so I had to record all of my files as wave files. And instead of in the chord activity typing dot wave for each one, I can just have note equals E. So the string paths will be E plus dot wave. And that way I don't have to type it over and over and over again. And that's basically how I got my strumming to work. I'm going to show you a little bit. Again, running out of time. Drawables. These are my different images that I had to put in. You can see these XHDPI, which means extra high density pixels. These are just different screen densities. You have to put all of your images in the different sizes, and Android will know which folder to use depending on the screen's density. Okay, go into my XML files, like here. Activity A, this is for the A activity. As you can see here, the background is the actual chord images I created. And then you'll see 6 translucent, almost look like buttons, but they're actually not buttons. Go into the XML. You can see your relative layout, vertical. I actually use text views instead of buttons because buttons need to be physically pressed, but a text view will, the finger tracking will recognize the text view instead, and you'll be able to slide over it instead of actually physically pressing the button. And then I had layout width fill parent to stretch out to the ends of the screen so you can press anywhere on the actual string. And then layout height, which is 0 dp, which means I set all my buttons to that, and that will make them stretch to this whatever the screen size it is. So if you want a different size screen, let's say, you can test different screen densities right here. Let's say I wanted an Nexus 5 with a higher screen density. Click on that, wait for it to load, and there we go. Again, stretch out to the whatever size screen it is. Real quick, I'll go to my manifest. Oh, I wanted to actually show all my recordings. Here's all my recordings. You'll see A, A1, A2, A3, A5. These are just the different notes, like the D string, 2nd fret, D string, 3rd fret. Again, you see there's quite a few recordings. Okay, going to the manifest, show you that really quick. Okay, here we have our package name, our version 1.0, minimum SDK version, which is 14, which is 4.0. The target SDK version, which is 19, which is KitKat 4.4, the newest version of Android. Here we have where the icon's located, which I created myself. The app name, the theme. Let's see, the main activity orientation. I wanted everything, or the main activity in portrait mode. So even if you turn your phone, it'll stay in portrait mode. You'll see here it's the main activity. So when you open the application, it'll open with the main activity. And then down here I have all my other activities, which is all my chords. You'll see I have them screen orientation landscape, so you won't be able to flip the phone. That way it'll work out. But that's basically everything I wanted to show you. I hope you liked my video, and I hope that you like my demo.